Welcome to Inside the She Cave, Trailblazers, Innovators, and Rule Breakers. I'm your host, Cindy Glansrock. On today's episode, I have the pleasure of sitting down with the Let's Make It Happen, Christina Mossaides Strassfield, a true trailblazer and innovator. She is the Executive Director of Southampton Arts Center, SAC, which is located in Southampton on Job's Lane, the original home of the Parrish Art Museum. After 29 years at Guildhall in East Hampton as Chief Curator and Museum Director, Christina brings new energy and a wealth of art knowledge and curatorial experience to SAC. From Queen's College, ultimately landing a position at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Christina shares her journey, including the many fresh, innovative exhibitions she has curated, and I have enjoyed.
I love to learn, love to be participating, love to be excited about something new, to again be thrilled by art. Once again, art enhances our lives, and when you walk through this exhibition, you're going to find something that you love and cherish, and that will inspire you to think.
She talks about the dynamic, at times frenetic art scene in the Hamptons, with the musical chairs of institutions as they thrive to attract from seasonal members to the local communities. Christina took over in January 2023 with a launch of some exciting exhibitions, including Outcropping Indigenous Art Now, Harry Benson's photography with some of the most iconic figures in the world, and a panel series and exhibition called Change Agents, featuring women collectors breaking new ground in the world of art collecting. The conversation unfolds into a celebration of culture and the arts' transformative power, from jazz concerts to engaging arts education programs for school groups, advancing the organization's mission of community building through the arts. Please join me as we hear from Christina Strassfield on her cultural commitment to SAC and its artistic journey, emphasizing the power of inclusion, community, and the everlasting impact of art in our lives. Let's delve right in. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you, Cindy. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, I love your story, if you wouldn't mind going back in time a bit, about how you ended up getting into the art world. Talk about having the right friends in the right places. Decided you wanted to be in the art world. Can you share with us what happened that made you say, I want to be in the museum world?
Absolutely. My mother worked for a woman, and she had a daughter and a granddaughter.
And your mother did what? What did your mother do?
Dressmaker. She worked on doing couture work, adjusting couture gowns and things like that. So it was very exciting because the woman that she worked for and her daughter, she would take us to the museum, and she would take us to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And I was about 5 years old at the time. And Sonia, I remember, would tell us all these wonderful stories about the artists and how the work was created. And I remember saying right then and there, I want to work in a museum. I want to be around all of these beautiful objects. I want to know about all of these artists and what they're doing. And I did a lot of work to get there. In high school, I did a lot of art courses at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I did an internship at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I also did an internship at the Brooklyn Museum, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs. And I just felt like I needed to be in the art world. I needed to be surrounded by art. And luckily, through my college internship, while I was in graduate school, I was able to work at the Metropolitan part-time. And then I was able to get a full-time job and work there for 5 years, which was truly an amazing experience. It's still one of my favorite museums in the world.
Well, we've just checked off that you're a trailblazer because you blazed a trail for yourself. Since you were 5 years old, you knew what you wanted to do. And we know you're an innovator. So share with us how you became innovative. How did Guildhall end up in your life in East Hampton? How did you go from Parkchester in the Bronx to Long Island and then end up at Guildhall? Tell us about your path.
Well, it was wonderful. I grew up in the Bronx, and the Parkchester area is a beautiful area. It's still wonderful. Great place to be, a real community, a lot of ethnic Greeks, Italians, Irish, wonderful community. And I went to a Greek American grammar school. Then I went to St. John Baptiste High School in the city. And then I went to Queens College for my undergraduate and my graduate degree. Worked at the Metropolitan for about 5 years. We needed to make a change. And so what we decided to do was to move to Long Island. And I got a job right away at the Guildhall as the associate curator and registrar. And from there, 2 years later, I became the curator and just love the idea of being able to showcase all the wonderful artists who were there and really expand what Guildhall was showing at the time, so that we had a variety of different works, from photographs, performance art, a variety of things, really, so that we hit all of the things that were happening in the art world and expose the community to everything that was happening in the art world.
What was so great about Guildhall is you had that beautiful theater. It's still there in renovations right now. We were lucky enough to interview Renee Cox, who had the opening exhibition. I heard through the grapevine that you had something to do with that Renee Cox exhibit before you left. So tell us, because Renee and I are friends and we spoke on Inside the She Cave. So that was pretty innovative of them to open up with Renee Cox's exhibition, which was truly in your face, very, a strong exhibition to start with. What seed did you plant to make that happen? And then it happened after you left, of course, which often happens that way.
It does, but it's okay. You have to have a lot of years of planning. Phyllis Hollis, one of our board members, introduced me to Renee, and I just thought she was an amazing person. So we decided to have a program called Ring the Alarm, and we were able to showcase Renee's having conversations with other artists. So Derek Adams, Sanford Biggers, Maren Hassinger, Shanique Smith. And these were done during COVID. So it was kind of wonderful that they were able to really expose artists, even at that time, to firsthand acknowledgement and knowledge by artists. As we were talking about this, the idea was that Renee was going to curate a show of artists for Guildhall, and she would be in the show. And it was my idea that at that point, when we were going to start the construction for Guildhall, I said, well, why don't we just have it be just Renee, a show of Renee's work? And of course, she loved that idea, and I thought it was a fabulous idea.
Of course.
And
Renee, of course, loved that idea.
It was really wonderful. And it just came out really beautifully. I think the show was magnificent. It was wonderful to see her work, the earlier work, and then, of course, her contemporary work and her video work. Extraordinary, really extraordinary. So I feel really proud that I was able to be part of that and to really sort of introduce Renee to a certain extent to the community through Phyllis Hollis and through our board.
Well, speaking of, again, about, I don't think you're so much a rule breaker in terms of starting something somewhere and then leaving, saying, ciao for now, I'm going on to the Southampton Arts Center, because it has been done. As I recall, there's been a lot of musical chairs amongst the parish, the guild halls, the Southampton Arts Centers. So in a way, is that something that's part of this industry, that it goes on where you move around, especially in the Hamptons, if you live out in that community?
Well, I think it's typical in the art world. Actually, it wasn't so typical out here until about 5-6 years ago, where there was a lot of changes. I believe that Amy Kerwin left the parish, came to the Southampton Arts Center, and then eventually went to Guildhall. Andrea was at the parish and went to Guildhall. I was asked to guest curate a show in 2022 for the Southampton Arts Center. We were closed at the time to work with Elizabeth Strong-Cuevas, Hal Buckner, and Deborah Buck. And it was really a great opportunity to showcase work of artists that I really knew and I really respected. At that time, Tom Dunn was leaving and going to the Tilla Center. And so I was approached by the board to see if I was interested in the job. And I had not been thinking about it, but, all of a sudden I felt like, well, yeah, I think this is my time. I think it's going to be the right choice for me. Felt really good, really enjoyed the staff, small staff here, but I really enjoyed that. I love the mission statement of building community through the arts, and felt that it was the right time to do that. So again, there has been a little bit of musical chairs going on right now. And I think it's good because I think we all know each other, all share our love and our passion for the arts. And I think we work together in the Hamptons Art Network, really solidifying everything that's going on out here. So it only helps everyone.
Well, you were a figure transformed, which is kind of coincidental. You literally transformed yourself from one institution to another, and then created this beautiful exhibition, which hats off to you last summer. I really enjoyed Figures Transformed, showcasing Deborah, who I know, and Hal Buckner's work I know, and of course, Elizabeth Strong-Cuevas, who passed away last year, which was quite a impressive female figure in the world of art and sculptures, beautiful sculptures. And I love that you combine painting, all mediums, which something that you seem to know about. I mean, going back to tell us, you studied, was it ancient Greek? Because you knew how to speak Greek because you are Greek. And that's where you met your husband, which I love that story, in Queens College. And I don't know why he was in that class. Maybe he was just following you around. But tell us, like, why were you interested in the studies that you did at Queens College, where you got your undergraduate degree and your MFA?
Yes, and master's in art history. Both my
I'm sorry, your MA.
Art history and anthropology, and my master's in art history. I felt like it was a great place to be. We had great connections. Our staff, the professors at Queens College, ended up going on to work at the Gagosian Gallery, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, all sorts of major institutions. So it was really a wonderful opportunity. I took the ancient Greek class because that was a requirement for me with languages. My husband was studying English, and he thought it would be really good for him to learn about the derivation of words. And so we met each other there, which was great. I loved ancient art. I still love ancient art. I must admit, it's a passion. I was just at the Boston Museum of Fine Art with my daughter, visiting her. She's in Boston. And when we went to the museum, we had to go to the Egyptian section. We had to look at all these wonderful sculptures. So there's a wonderful, if you know art history, and each period grows upon the period beforehand, I think that's exciting. So you have to know about art history to be able to create something new and create something innovative, because you have to know about the past to be able to create something that is innovative, impressive, that's going to make a statement. And so that's exciting to me. So again, Elizabeth Strong Cuevas' work was really monumental. She died at 94 years old, and she was working till the very, very end. Hal Buckner's sculpture is a little bit different, very, very exciting. And Deborah Buck's work is extraordinary, wonderful, whimsical quality to it, childlike nature, but it's embedded with a lot of, again, art history, mythology, throwing a little bit of everything into it, and a very exciting artist, I feel.
I would agree with you. She's just around the corner from me, so I get to sometimes go to her studio in Sagaponack, which is fun to see her work there in situ, as in her home. So I think that the Southampton Arts Center is such a unique experience. Of course, the co-founder, Simone Levinson, is a friend, and David Levinson, I've known them both separately and as a married couple. And your treasurer, Rob Varadian, and his wife, Helena Varadian. I love that these are all people I grew up with when I was in my 20s, going to different benefits supporting the arts. And here they have now their own arts community that they've created. 10 years anniversary. So congratulations. You launched the next decade. I heard you had a great summer, basically anniversary party, and you were actually honoring Simone. Tell us about that, what you celebrated, how you celebrated. And I hear there's about 45,000 visitors annually. So it's really picking up the momentum there. So you need to raise, what I hear, you raised close to $1 million. You need to raise money, and you need to be able to pay for your staff. Since you have a small one, you need to build a staff too. And you juggle a lot of balls, I understand, over there, running all the special programs. So if you can speak to what I just asked and more, including the programs that you're doing, since you've sent me some great information on what's coming up in the near future.
Well, thank you. We're so excited again. I love the idea when I was approached again by the Southampton Arts Center, because it really is community based. We're right on Main Street. We're in the middle, the heart of everything. And the Parish Art Museum left 12 years ago. And for 2 years, the building sort of lay dormant. And it was these pioneers, Simone and Whitney Stevens and Rob, who all had the idea that it really should be an art center. It shouldn't become another business or a store. So they really dedicated themselves, their heart and soul went into it. They laid their money out and put their money on the line. I think it was so exciting to celebrate them, all of them, for accomplishing that, because so many non-for-profits end up falling apart within the first 5 years, actually within the first 3 years. So to be able to celebrate our 10 years is wonderful. The building and the land is owned by the village. We have a 100-year lease, so we have 90 more years to go, and we're excited about that. But the programming, when I came on in January, I was so excited because Pat Miller, whose work is behind me right here, a wonderful painting.
Pat Miller, who is a local artist in the Hamptons and well known by many.
Absolutely. He's someone that has actually been involved very heavily. He has guest curated a number of shows called East End Collective. So when I started in January, his show was the first show that we were going to be having, where he had 41 artists who had shown, a few had shown before, but a lot had not shown before, showcasing their work. So we had paintings and sculptures. It was just truly amazing. Drawings, lovely, lovely work. And it really was a community feeling. The opening had 700 people at it. We were so excited. First opening, we were thrilled. That show had a lot of wonderful programming to go along with it, conversations with the artists, discussions about what's current and what's happening in the art world. We followed that with the Harry Benson exhibition, which was 80 some odd photographs by, again, a wonderful photographer who's 93 years old, who came to the United States when the Beatles came, and really it changed his life and changed sort of photography that we know today. He's photographed literally everyone. I mean, from Elvis Presley to Lisa Marie Presley to Michael Jackson to every president from the United States, from Dwight Eisenhower all the way up to President Biden today. So that was an exciting.
I want you to know that was one of my favorite exhibitions this summer. I was trying to get people from New York City out to come see that exhibition. It was just so special to see those photographs, and the ones besides the Beatles of all those, the great stories that you wrote on the walls about how he went about taking the photographs and why he even was accepted into the room, like why they invited him into these spaces. So it was so intimate the way you curated that exhibition. So congratulations on that one too.
Thank you so much. Actually, I didn't curate that. That was actually done by a guest curator, but I was involved with it as well. It was really Sally Katz. She did a fantastic job. The labels that appeared on the wall were all done by Harry Benson, and they were wonderful because they explained how he got into every room, how he met those people who he photographed, and how he was able to make them relax and really accept him as a bystander and to really engage with him. And I think all of the photographs have that intimacy to them. So they really make it work perfectly.
I recognize on one of the labels that he mentioned about Barbra Streisand, for example. He gave a whole story about her and said, she actually wasn't the nicest, most friendly person. But I thought it was great that he was honest, because he said, she didn't make it easy for anyone. It wasn't just him. She just had a way about her. And I think that was photographed in Central Park when he was with her. And maybe it was some weird, major, space. So his labels, you were saying, were very much about his personal experience.
Absolutely. And it was really kind of wonderful. Everyone loved the labels. They felt that it really enhanced the show. And that was something that we came up with. And I'm so glad that we did, because the people came back time and time again to finish reading all the labels, which I think really was a testament to Harry's wonderful quality of writing as well.
Absolutely. And I hear Harry was there himself.
He came several times. We showed the film on him. He did a talk with Sally Martin Katz, the curator, and all of that was so exciting. I mean, we had sellout crowds. We had no more seats left. We had to have the sound actually projected into the galleries because we ran out of seating.
So let's jump to change agents, which I understand was an idea, a kernel from Simone as a supporter and as an art collector. And she had many female friends. So she decided that this might be a good idea. Could you share a little bit about the change agents? And I thought it was a wonderful panel of women collectors and the work that they collect, which is not only by women, sometimes by men also. So it's just not about women, except that it is about collectors that are great collectors. So share with us the change agents that's going on until September 30th. So we hope the audience will get in there and see it before it closes.
Yes, absolutely. When I got the job in October and I began talking with Simone and the board about what we were going to be doing for our 10th anniversary year, Simone said that she had this idea that she had tried to do the year before, but it was just too much work and they couldn't get it going. So it was the idea of having collectors and all women collectors. Can you believe it? That's an exhibition that has never been done. There have been husband and wife collectors. There's been individual collectors, but really showcasing a whole group of women. And so Simone got on the phone called 7 of them who were all her friends, and they all said yes immediately. And then we realized we wanted to expand it a little bit. So we reached out to Kate Fowle, who was the lead curator. She said she wanted to get a little diversity in the group. She hired 2 younger curators, which was kind of wonderful, Falasade Olagundudu and Xiao Yu Wang. And they brought in other collectors. So it ended up being 14 collectors in total, a variety of different people, from Agnes Gund to Roya Kajavi, Christine Mack, yes.
Christine Mack, of course.
Lisa Perry.
Lisa Perry.
I think that having these younger curators gave us the opportunity to really expand, and having Kate involved, reaching a larger audience of collectors and bringing a different sensibility to the exhibition. And we were so excited about it. And again, the panel discussion, which was moderated by Lisa Dennison from Sotheby's, was so exciting. And again, a packed house, great dialogue where she asked the collectors what was their favorite piece, which is always intriguing. It's almost like choosing your favorite child.
Yes.
How do you choose your favorite piece when these women have the most amazing collections? Again, they are part of the top 200 collectors of the world, not just of the United States, but of the world. So this is really such a broad scope for us. Very, very exciting. Again, artists from Nick Cave to Lorna Simpkins to Robert Longo to a lot of artists that I have to tell you that I was even not familiar with. So for me, it was really exciting to go and read and to learn about some of these artists who, again, I had not heard of. So they were outside of my range, which, again, I love to learn, love to be participating, love to be excited about something new, to again be thrilled by art. Once again, art enhances our lives, and when you walk through this exhibition, you're going to find something that you love and cherish, and that will inspire you to think.
It's so interesting when we can learn new things. That's why I love art. It just opens our eyes to the world and to other people and how people see things. I mean, if it wasn't, I always say art saves the day, because it's a way to sort of, for just to come down from it all, or to, rise up to another place. And now I hear you're going to be rising up with Rick Friedman, who we both have known I know I've known him since he had his famous art fairs in the Hamptons that brought so many art collectors to the Hamptons, or people that already are out there buying art. And, if art saves the day, you have to buy some art and put it in your homes and your offices and share it in office buildings, which is one of the things I was always doing, is curating lobbies, as you know, lobby art as a lobbyist. So I would love to hear about the next exhibition that's opening up. You said October 14th officially, and unofficially October 7th. And in between, you have the Hampton International Film Festival using your space. So tell us about all the exciting things you have planned, including some movies and Rick Friedman and Cindy Lou Wakefield.
So we're excited about this. This exhibition is called The Heroines of the Abstract Expressionist Era. And we're focusing on the artists, abstract expressionist artists who were in New York and have that Hamptons connection, because so many of the artists, again, were part of the New York scene. They came out here because it was very inexpensive to live or vacation, even at that time. And so
used to be.
Used to be. So true. I think now, unfortunately, so many artists can't afford to be out here, but at that time they could, and it was a wonderful escape from the gritty life of the city in the summer. So we're thrilled. I've known Rick, again, for a long time, and had the chance to see his collection, and I felt it was just amazing. He has a lot of male abstract expressionists as well, but I felt that this body was so amazing and cohesive, and showing the variety of abstraction in and of itself. But these artists, from Helen Frankenthaler, Lee Krasner, Elaine de Kooning, such exciting figures, Pearl Fine, I loved them, and I learned all about these artists, of course, when I was out here and I first came to Guildhall. But it was thrilling, again, to see that his collection is so encompassing. So I approached him about showing the work, and he loved the idea. We're going to have some great panel discussions with him about him and Cindy Lou about collecting. We're going to try to get Audrey Flack out to talk to her, because, again, she's one of the few people who is still alive, who, again, knew Pollock, had a chance to meet him, hang out at the Cedar Bar, which I think is such an exciting opportunity to hear her stories and hear her talk.
I love Audrey Flack's work, and it's part of his collection.
Absolutely. There's a lot of pieces. So we're kind of excited to show that. We're going to be showing films that Hamptons International Film Festival is going to show 4 films each day on the 7th and the 8th. We're going to have a silent disco party for Halloween. We've got other wonderful programs going forward. So, we're really not closing. We don't close down. We're open year round. And we think we're here for the community year round. And we want to welcome all the school groups to come in. We're talking with Cindy Lou about bringing the high school over and a lot of other youngsters so that they can be exposed to art. I feel like if you expose youngsters to art at an early age, you've got them hooked for life.
I agree. And I hope you reach out beyond the outskirts of the Hamptons, as in Riverhead and as in even Quogue and, the other sort of going further, the Moriches. So to schools where it's really not a far trip. But with the money you've raised, maybe getting some buses for these kids and busing them in so they can have that 5-year-old little Christina experience that you had. And it's important to channel that energy in a child at a very young age. I mean, whether it's cooking or art, I think it's so important that they get a taste of something. And this abstract exhibition, of course, is sophisticated. But I think as long as they can then go and do, I think I saw you had so many different wonderful art classes that you had going on.
Yes, we do. We're having a wonderful watercolor class with Janet Jennings, an amazing master watercolorist. We do a weekly class with Linda Capello, which is drawing from the model. So drawing from a live nude model, which is a great experience. If anyone has ever wanted to learn how to draw, Linda is the perfect teacher to do that. We had an acting class. We also had a mahjong class this summer, which ended up being 30 women who came every Thursday afternoon, and they just loved the camaraderie of it, the interaction with one another, the excitement of being in an arts institution, walking through the galleries, seeing the art, and then engaging in a wonderful social opportunity. So we want to be here for the community.
I'm not going to take mahjong yet. But I think I should take a watercolor class. I think I'd have more fun with that.
I think all of it's exciting. We're looking into try to do a book club. We want to have a little bit more music. We had Hamptons Jazz Fest here. We had the Harlem Gospel here this summer, which was truly an amazing experience. We're hoping to bring them back. We were hoping to have them outside, but that night, unfortunately, it rained, so we had them inside. But next year, we want to bring them back and really have a major open celebration where the community can join us.
Well, it's extraordinary when you think about, here's this little Greek girl who's now a big Greek girl with 3 children. And here you are, from the museum director and curator of Guildhall in the 90s, returning in 2002, and then now at the Southampton Arts Center. You've really not just blazed a trail for yourself, but for so many artists are so thankful to you and us as the people who get to enjoy these exhibitions, because your energy, I remember walking into the Lichtenstein exhibit and there was Dorothy Lichtenstein and you. And I'm like, I'm going over there and listening to what you had to say, speaking with Dorothy. I mean, here is, a very famous artist with his wife who obviously is a supporter of Guildhall. And, how do you build these relationships? You did the same thing with Chuck Close. I remember seeing Lou Reed there in front of the piece that Chuck Close made of him. And I'm thinking, Christina's like a magician when she pulls these things together. So share, how do you make that happen?
Well, it's so interesting. I think that, when I first became curator, one of the first shows that I did was Chuck Close and Eric Fischel. And I had seen Eric's work. I had really admired it. I actually met someone. He was showing his photographs at the time. I went to the gallery and I said, I'm from Guildhall. I want to show the photographs. I'd love to show the photographs, which are inspiration for the paintings. And it came together, and sort of Eric Fischel engaged in that way. And with that, then I was able to reach out to Chuck Close. I did 2 shows with Chuck Close over the years. I did 2 with Eric Fischel. I've done shows with all the contemporary artists.
So Eric Fischel, you did an exhibition of all Chuck Close's work, but you also did one, you were saying, with Eric Fischel and Chuck Close. So how does a curator come up with these ideas, and how did you bring them together, and how did that work out the way how did the magic happen?
Well, I was very lucky to actually meet each one of them individually and work with them individually. And they're all friends. So again, they really respected one another's work. So it became a wonderful dialogue to work with them and have them share inspiration. So it just all came together naturally. And I must admit that once I've fostered a relationship with the artist, I love to keep that relationship up. So trying to, make sure that I know what's happening in their life, following their careers. So again, having done 2 shows with Eric Fischel, 2 shows with Chuck Close over the years, working with April. I've done a show of her individually, then group shows.
Yes. Speaking of April, we're interviewing her for the podcast. So I think you, both April Gornick and Alice Aycock, who we just interviewed, didn't you have an exhibition with Alice's work also?
I had proposed the show with I did a show with her where she was included in a group show called Volume 6 Contemporary Sculptors. And again, it was Alice Aycock, Linda Benglis, Maren Hassinger, John Newman, Mel Kendricks, and one other artist I'm blanking out on. I don't know what.
That's okay. That's from 20 years ago, probably.
No, it was a great show. And I was so happy with that show because, again, at that time, it was a show of sculpture, major sculptures. And there were 4 women out of the 6 people that were in the show, which was really groundbreaking. So, again, I love Alice's work. Fantastic. And again, so I was very proud of that. And then I had proposed a show that happened while I was on maternity leave with the twins that not Donna Zasalvo, Donna Korn curated that show when I was gone. But I also did a show early on with April Gornick of her drawings. And then I also included her in shows with Jane Freilicher and Jane Wilson on landscape, which was an amazing exhibition. Really, really wonderful.
Well, her landscapes are beautiful. She has an exhibition here in the city at McInerney Gallery. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Just opened in early September. So I'm just excited to go see that exhibit. And she's, I think, taking a busload of people into the city to see it and go to the Whitney. So maybe you can join the caravan.
That sounds like fun. Absolutely.
She's great at community building herself, April.
Absolutely. I think she should run for the mayor of Sag Harbor.
I don't think she needs more work than she already has, especially if she's going to continue to paint.
That's true. That's so true. But I think the 2 of them have just done an amazing job of being part of really integrating themselves so completely into the community and being accessible completely.
Well, I find that your events and what you've done as a trailblazer and of course, innovator, you're innovating every day. And then again, I think the way you do break rules is if you have an idea, I'm sure you present it to the board because I assume, does the board have to approve all the ideas that you have as a curator, even though you're the executive director and you're the head honcho?
Yes.
Do they have to approve it?
Yes.
Okay. So you can't just do something and say, I'm going to do this no matter what.
That's true. So it's wonderful to be able to, it's a wonderful board here and they're very excited. They're very involved, and they're very dedicated. I really feel that they give of themselves completely to this institution, from Ellen Kronmeyer, who is a big advocate for the films, documentary films, and who has a really vast knowledge of it, to Simone, who's amazing at just bringing people in and getting everyone involved and excited about the arts and the Art Center in general. Just everyone completely is involved and gives of themselves. And I love working with them. It's been very exciting. I've had a great opportunity right now to sort of throw a few things in the line saying, I think we should do this. I think we should do that. And wonderful discussions about everything. And hopefully we'll move forward with all of the different projects.
Well, explain something to me, because you're a community builder yourself. You're giving, of course, credit to April because that's the kind of person you are, and April Gornick does the same. But I was reading about your community involvement, being elected to 2 5-year terms at the Southampton School Board, where you co-chair the budget committee, so you understand the importance of budgets. And also, I guess the school district has $62 million budget, which is, I don't know if that's substantial or not. So you'll have to share that with us. Also, you served on the finance and audit and academic advisory and academic enrichment committees, and NYFA's nominating committee, and NYFA, the new, was at the New York Foundation of the Arts, which is a great organization. And also on the church's parish council and the president of Philanthropic Society. So I've read a lot about you and all you've done. But tell me about that, the budgets. Do we have a lot in Long Island compared to New York and other places, other countries and states?
That's a good question. In terms of Long Island, we are probably, the budget's much higher now, but that was how many years ago? I think the budget is close to 70 some odd $1 million. We are a well-funded school district in Southampton here. I think it's because we have all these wonderful homes that are, multi-million-dollar homes. So again, our income bracket is different. But in terms of Long Island, as I said, Suffolk County, we're probably in the top 10. I would say in the island, we're probably in the maybe the top 20. In terms of other states, that I'm not so sure about. I know that New York in general is higher than most other states in terms of their education, what we give towards education. But, it's important to give to education. I really always felt strongly about that. What we're giving to the students is going to enhance their lives. So many of the students, believe it or not, in Southampton, we had a very high rate of we have such a dichotomy in the community. We had an extremely high rate of people who were getting free meals because, again, they were in that lower economic bracket. So all of the activities that we can do, bringing, as you said, art programs to these students, sometimes it's the only opportunity that they'll get. So whether it's an exhibition or music or a poetry or a film, it's so important to expose them to this because this really is a once-in-a-life opportunity and it changes their lives. And so many people are saved by actually art, having that as an outlet for themselves. So I was always fighting for the arts, never wanting them to cut the budget. Of course, STEM, science, technology is very, very important, but arts are equally as important.
Absolutely. I hear for that. I also, as a fellow member of Art Table, I think it's really important to have these organizations that support the arts and women in the arts and getting more women into these institutions. And I'm so proud of Long Island because besides yourself, I mean, all the directors, I should say, except for one at Guildhall were women. And this goes back to the 1890s, if I recall, Guildhall. I'm not sure when it was started, but I thought it was the 1890s, and only women except for one man. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. That's absolutely true. So it's very exciting. And again, I think when you look at even the Southampton Arts Center board, we have several men on the board, but I would say it is probably 70% women that are running this institution and who have dedicated their life and their passions to the arts.
However, at Guildhall, even though women ran Guildhall in terms of museum directors and executive curators, I think only men were the chairman of the actual boards at Guildhall.
Yes, that's true. That's absolutely true, which it's kind of interesting because, again, we have a number of women on the board, but we had women who were on the executive committee, but we've never had a woman run as chairman of the board. Very interesting.
Yes, that is. And at Southampton Arts Center, who is the chairman of the board?
Simone Levinson and Whitney Stevens. They're co-chairs.
They're co-chairs. Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, two great women. And I don't know, and we won't go into the parish, although I think that, Terry did a wonderful job, and now they have a new director there, a woman director.
Yes, Monica.
Monica, what's her full name?
Ramirez Gutez, I believe it is. Yes.
Yes. And she came, I think, from Texas, if I recall, as did Terry. So these institutions in the Hamptons do bring people in from other places besides the Hamptons.
That's
or
true.
New York or Queens in your case originally. So let me ask you, not hopefully a touchy question, but we'll sort of wrap up at this point about a lot of artists that we show at all these different institutions, including yours, come from other places, or their families, I should say. So immigration is a very hot topic right now. And you being from your families originally, your parents were born elsewhere, but they're Greek origin. I think you said Turkey and Russia?
Yes. My father was born in Turkey of Greek parents, and my mother was born in Russia of Greek parents.
Right. So here we have in New York, we have in the Hamptons a lot of immigrants that work there, a lot of students in the programs that don't speak a lot of English. What is your feeling about arts for these children and bringing arts to their attention? And also, besides affording it, because of course the museum is free and you build your membership. I mean, you build money based on people who join as members. and you raise money at your 10th anniversary benefit. You have other events that you charge for. How do we support this, or do we not support this?
Absolutely. Well, we definitely do support it, and we do want to support it. The community right now, the school community is over 50% is of Latino background, both East Hampton, Southampton, and I believe in Riverhead as well. So the immigrants are here, and we really want to do as much as we can. We've made our website bilingual so people can come. We have a number of free programs, and we are working very closely with the organization of Latino Association, which Minerva Perez is involved with, letting the Latino community know what we have to offer, letting them know that our program is free. We've had free films for children. We have free art programs for children. They can come in at any time. I love when the school groups come in and I sit them down and I tell them, this is your institution. Please tell your parents that they can come whenever they want because we're not charging for free admission. They can come and look at the galleries. And we offer a number of discounted tickets to people who are our underserved community. And we have gotten some grants, wonderful grants for that. So it's a great opportunity for us to welcome them as much as we can and to reach out to them and make them feel welcome in our community.
So may it be said that I am going to make a recommendation because you know me, I don't hold back, Christina. Those QR codes on the wall or the information you give at the front desk, perhaps they can be in Spanish too. Perhaps the QR codes could be in Spanish too. And perhaps a staff member or someone at the front desk could speak Spanish too. So that's one of my 3 recommendations to consider and think about, unless you already have. And so if you have, I apologize.
Now, we do have a staff. We have 2 staff members who do speak Spanish. They're not at the front desk. So whenever there is an issue, we do have someone come down to do some translation. But I think that's very good. We're looking for additional staff. So that could be one of the things that we encourage people to have. I like the idea of this QR codes in Spanish. I think that's a really great idea. Great idea. So I'm going to try to.
Even if it's just that sheet of paper at the front, to have it in maybe Spanish also, because that could probably be an easy job for someone, an intern, or perhaps I'm sure there are some wonderful students that would love to intern. And I know you need a few more hands on deck.
We do. And we've had students from the high school who need to do their community service, and they come in and they help us out for different projects. So it is a wonderful give and take because they're giving to the community and they're also getting involved with the community. So it is wonderful. And we want to encourage more of that as well. And
I see those buses around the Hamptons that are sort of those free shuttles, at least during the summer. And there is a bus system. So also letting these families know that they could probably get to the parish, which is right on Job's Lane, so it's not right off Main Street. It's probably a stop that is not too far from the museum if they need to take public transportation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great idea.
So keep building this community. I look forward to, I love that silent disco. I was dancing with Simone last year at it. It was so much fun. And I look forward coming to, you have, I think, a few movies coming up, a documentary. What was the documentary by?
We're going to be showing the Pollock film, actually.
The Pollock film, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So the Jackson Pollock film, what's the date of that?
That is going to be on Saturday, November 25th at 2 p.m.
Okay, I'll see you there. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your enthusiasm. And visit the Southampton Arts Center on Job's Lane. You can actually jump off the train, and it's not too far from the train station, right? You can spend a day in Southampton. You don't have to have a house there. So it's a wonderful place, and I look forward to seeing these heroines of abstraction. I got to see a tidbit at the Hampton Fine Arts Fair this summer, and Rick did a display of them, which was wonderful. So thank you. Thank you, Cindy. I really appreciate your time, and you always are. Your podcasts are just amazing. Your conversations with the artists are inspiring. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to Inside the She Cave, Trailblazers, Innovators, Rule Breakers, wherever you listen to podcasts, including but not limited to Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. If you prefer to watch, you can visit us on YouTube.